Gun Violence in Young Adults by Marion Caporusso, Kulbir Dhillon, and Alex Tecson. A gun has been fired on school grounds almost once a week since the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012. According to a study by the CDC, an average of 1,300 children die and nearly 5,800 children are treated for gunshot wounds each year. To put it in a different perspective, this is at least 2 Little League lineups worth of children shot every 24 hours. Catherine Fowler of the CDC analyzed the children's firearm injuries earlier this year. She said that these are preventable injuries that have a major public health impact on early death and disability among children. Gun violence in schools is a serious topic. This is why George Bush Sr. enacted in 1990 the Gun-Free School Zone Act, which prohibits the carrying of a loaded or unlocked firearms within 1,000 feet of a public, private, or parochial schools. How and why young people are impacted by gun violence? Could it be from bullying, lack of gun safety, TV, movies, or direct or indirect observer? Watch this short clip from ABC News as children talk about gun violence and how it can be prevented.
All week at ABC News, we've been searching for solutions to gun violence in America after the tragedy at Sandy Hook. And we've been talking every day about how to keep our kids safe. Well, tonight, 2020 anchor Chris Cuomo went back to his old elementary school and talked to some children about their ideas on violence.
The real monsters in the world are just regular people.
4th and 5th graders take on the tough questions that grip our nation.
Why would he do that? When did he get the urge to do it?
Why does it help you to know why he did it?
If it's happened, something made him do it, then you can stop that from happening to another person, making them do it again.
And listen to what they say about guns. Are guns bad?
Not always.
Not exactly.
No. Guns can be good or bad depending who's using them.
Is the answer no guns?
Not exactly.
No.
Let's say I go in there today and say, I need a gun, man, sell me the gun. Should I be able to get it right then?
No. You should limit the amount of bullets that can be in a gun.
What do you think is a bigger deal with why this happened? That the gun or the culture of violence?
The culture of violence.
It's hard to change culture, isn't it? But as for violent movies, video games, and music, they say the problem is the user. Who plays video games? Now, when you see those things, does it make you want to do those things to regular people?
Oh, no, it's just the game.
And you don't believe that the game changes your mind?
I don't think the game is the problem. I think the person who's playing the game is the problem.
And the controversial idea of armed guards in every school? For these kids, not so controversial.
They could maybe hire people to walk around and watch what's going on.
Armed guards?
Yes, it would actually make me feel safe.
And if that doesn't work, George may have the best solution of all.
A time machine.
Time machine.
You'd go back in time and try to stop what would happen. And then you would have like a shield, a very strong one, a holographic one that could deflect bullets.
These kids' minds were filled with fantastic ideas, but also a solemn prayer.
This should never have happened, and that all life is irreplaceable.
Chris Cuomo, ABC News, Queens, New York.
Some experts claim that warning signs are easy to detect, while others say that it is extremely hard to detect. You be the judge. Watch the short clip and see if you can detect any of the warning signs. Establishing a culture of gun safety. One area of confusion is the variability in regulation from one state to the next. This is a slippery slope when state and federal regulations are called to agree. Here's a few examples. Making sure people are protected. Mandatory training. Licensing. Safe and secure gun storage. And a controversial one is that gun owners should be required to regularly refresh their training and renew their permits. Only 14 states have laws requiring adults to store guns so kids can't get them. Marion lives in New Jersey and Kulbir and I live in Nevada. There is no monitoring of this law in both of our home states. Responsible gun ownership is all about safety first. Securing all weapons by using a gun safe, pistol locks, revolver locks, or even long gun locks. Several safes are available for purchase. Security ranges from fingerprint recognition to combination dial or push-button systems. Individual gun locks are a secondary security system, locking the weapon from firing. All guns should be stored unloaded. Semi-automatic weapons should be stored without magazine inside. Watch this PSA on gun safety.
I don't really know anything about guns.
My family has guns at our house.
I've never heard anything about gun safety in school.
I don't know much about guns, but I'm kind of curious.
I'm not allowed to touch a gun. What should I do if I see a gun at my friend's house?
Hi, I'm Julie Golub. I'm a veteran, a competitive shooting sports champion, a hunter, and a mom. My family shares a heritage and love for the outdoors and the shooting sports. I know from raising my own family that just because kids aren't asking about gun safety doesn't mean they don't have questions. As a parent, if you have guns at home, it's vital that you have a conversation with your kids about gun safety. Even if you don't have guns, the conversation is still important. We all know kids see guns on TV and in movies. They may see them at friends' houses or in situations where you are not there. If they don't learn something about guns from you, chances are they'll learn it from someone else. As a mom, I wouldn't want to rely on someone else to know about firearm safety or teach my kids about it. So have this conversation. It will make your kids, your family, and your community safer.
My parents talked to me about guns safety when I was about 7 or 8, but they haven't really talked about it since.
I've asked about guns, but my mom and dad say I'm not old enough to talk about it.
My parents have talked to me about guns, but I'm not sure if they've talked to my little sister.
Sometimes I hear from other parents that they just don't know how to get started, when and where to talk, and what to say. This is an important conversation, but it doesn't need to be a lecture. Kids do need to know it's a serious topic. Pick a time and a place where you can all focus on the discussion without distractions. They're probably already curious, so you'll have their attention. Young kids and older kids will need a different approach. Let's start with young children.
We see guns on TV all the time. I'm not allowed to touch a gun.
I just want to look at the gun. I know where we keep it.
My friend's parents have a gun.
Doesn't even have bullets in it.
I just want to see it.
Guns aren't a big deal.
I started talking to my daughter about firearms and hunting safety when she was around 3 years old, and I plan to continue to talk with my 2 daughters often. It's important to get kids thinking about gun safety as early as possible, but it's not just about age. Make sure your children are ready and mature enough to understand the discussion. For young kids, usually grade school age or younger, that starts with making sure they can understand a few fundamental rules. When you see a gun, stop. Don't touch it. Even if a gun looks like a toy, leave it alone. Leave the area where the gun is and go tell an adult. With kids at this age, repetition is key. Every month or 2 is not too often. Once kids get older and are in more situations without you, things can change. The teenage years.
My parents have talked to me about safe driving and stuff like that, but not about guns.
My dad has guns, but Mom won't talk about them.
We go target shooting sometimes. It's fun.
I know a lot about guns just from video games.
You can tell when a gun's loaded and when it's not.
It'd be fun to take a gun out sometime and just shoot some cans, practice.
Many teenagers want to jump right to the shooting stage. That's why education and responsible guidance are important before they ever encounter a gun. Whether or not you have guns in your home, kids may see them at friends' houses or somewhere else. Your lessons on safety may be all they have to navigate those situations. For teens, the rules of firearm safety are very clear. Don't touch, pick up, or use a gun without an adult's permission and supervision. Never, ever point a gun at anyone. Always assume a gun is loaded and can fire. For all kids, young and old, there are a few things you can do to make sure it's a meaningful discussion for you and your family. If you have a partner, get on the same page and try to have the talk with kids together. Be sure your kids aren't hearing different messages from their parents. Find a good time and place for the discussion where both you and your kids won't be distracted. Remember, this is a conversation, not a lecture. Invite your kids to ask questions and ask them questions too. Find out what they already know or have heard. Demystify the situation. Use examples from real life to help them understand your rules better so they remember what to do in situations when you may not be there. Walk the talk. Set an example with your own careful, safe handling, and proper storage of guns. Reinforce your conversation regularly, adding detail and context as your kids get older. There are great educational resources out there for you with discussions of best safety practices, safety videos, and safe storage options. You can start by going to projectchildsafe.org and think about signing the Project Child Safe Child Safety Pledge together with your children. Enjoying the outdoors and shooting sports can be a great thing for many families, but whether or not your family is interested in shooting sports, or you and your partner simply want to do all you can to prevent accidents and unsupervised access to firearms, having this conversation is the right thing to do. It's up to you to get started today.
Protecting children in the aftermath. Be calm and answer questions honestly. Spare the details. Do not watch TV news reports when children are watching. Be observant of children's behavior for signs of anxiety. Adults should be aware that as they grapple with the unknown of gun violence and mass shooting incidents such as Mandalay Bay and Las Vegas, with so much media coverage, has an effect on everyone watching the news. Children cannot understand and are often not able to express their thoughts and fears. This has been a presentation by Marion, Kulbir, and Alex. Thank you very much.